When I opened the inside cover of this book, here's what it said, and you see it here on the screen. It said, the central figure of the ancient Egyptian religion was Osiris. And the chief fundamentals of his cult were the belief in his divinity, death, resurrection, and absolute control of the destinies of the bodies and souls of men. I'm already messed up. The central point of each Osirian's religion was his hope of resurrection. Y'all see it? Yes. His hope of resurrection in a transformed body and of immortality, which can only be realized by him through the death and resurrection of Osiris. Now, I messed up, y'all, because I had been preaching this for almost 20 years. But it wasn't about Osiris. It's about that dude. This blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy who we've all been taught to call who? Jesus. Now, Minister Mitchell, if you would, please read 1 Corinthians 15, verses 50 through 55. What does it say?
Now this I say, brethren.
Now this I say, brethren.
That flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
Yes.
Neither does corruption inherit incorruption.
Right.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep.
Before you go any further, have y'all heard this before? Yes. Okay, read on.
But we shall all be changed.
Right.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. Incorruptible, yes. And we shall be changed.
And we shall be changed. Changed from mortal to what? Immortal. You got it. Immortality. We used to sing that when I was growing up. Changed from mortal to immortality in the twinkling of an eye. Y'all know that? We shall be changed. Here it is. Hope of resurrection in a transformed body. But again, I'm thinking it's this character here. Now, this is some deep stuff because it says here, the Egyptians. Now, I was raised to see the Egyptians as sinners. All through the Bible, Egypt is the place of sin. The Bible exhorts you, come out of Egypt. Don't go back to Egypt. Here's what it says. Egypt possessed conceptions of truth, justice, and righteousness. Y'all see it? According to these, the life everlasting in heaven. You mean the ancient Africans talked about going to heaven when they died? See, that's the number one question you're going to get asked when you make your transformation. They're going to ask you, but where are you going to go when you die? Let them know the same place ancient Africans have been saying all the time, that the white man stole from us. And they call it heaven. And the kingdom of Osiris could only be attained by those who had done what? Lived righteous lives upon earth and who had been declared to be speakers of the truth in the judgment hall of Osiris. In the judgment hall of Osiris. Now, that's some deep stuff. The Egyptians set truth speaking above all other virtues, and in the great judgment. You mean tell me the ancient Africans talked about a great judgment? Yes, they did. In fact, brothers and sisters, it's depicted in this drawing. Turn to John 5:22. 27. Turn quickly. I got a lot of pictures to go through. I'm moving so slow, I'm going to run out of time, so I got to move real quick. John 5:22. I'll quote it for you. For the Father judges no man. I think that's what it says, right? What is it going to say?
For the Father judges no man.
Yes.
But have committed all judgment unto
But have committed all judgment to the Son. What does the 27th verse say?
And have given him authority to execute judgment also.
And have given the Son authority to execute judgment also. How about 2 Corinthians 5 and 10? 2 Corinthians 5th chapter 10th verse.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of who?
Christ.
Who?
Christ.
How many of y'all grew up hearing that?
Yes.
Okay, now this is some deep stuff. Because that's what the biblical text says, but this is where they got it from. Now this is a pictograph. And in this pictograph you see Osiris dressed in white. In this pictograph his face is white too, by the way. I'm going to mess you up in a minute. And you also see the person being judged standing before Osiris at the great white throne. Now, not only is he standing there, but he has the scales upon his shoulders. They took that and put it in the Bible. Who was it? Nebuchadnezzar, one of the kings, and the dream, the interpreter said, it means, TKL, something writing on the wall means you've been weighed in the balances and found, who knows what the rest said? Wanting, thank you. You see, it had to come from here because there was no Nebuchadnezzar. Here you have the brother being judged, the pig, the swine, on the boat represents Set or Satan, which became Satan in European theology. Here you have the 9 gods, or representing the 9 levels of life. And those of you who know anything about numerology, you know that when you get to the number 9, you have reached the pinnacle, and at that point, you go into the summum bonum, or the supreme good. That's a pictograph. There it is on the wall. That's what I'm talking about. One thing to draw it. It's another thing to go and examine the temples and tombs and see where they got it from. What color is Osiris there, y'all? What color? Thank you. Why? Because the word Osiris means Lord of the perfect black. Well, the spread of the cult was rapid both in Upper Egypt and in the Delta. And by the way, don't get messed up by the word cult. See how they control our thinking? We think the word cult means something bad. The word cult simply means that's the way a people do things. Cult is the root word of culture. Cult is the root word of cultivate. You follow what I'm saying? Because no other cult offered to its adherents the hope of the resurrection and immortality. Now this is some deep stuff. Notice what it says about Osiris. His human nature, they thought, enabled his human nature. His human nature. Okay, this is where they stole the idea of the 2 natures of Jesus. His divine nature and his human nature. His human nature, they thought, enabled him to understand the needs, troubles, and griefs of men and listen sympathetically to their prayers. And his divine nature gave him powers to help them in this world and in the next, which no other ancestor God ever possessed. Y'all see that? Read Hebrews 4:15.
For we have not a high priest.
For we don't have a high priest.
Which cannot be touched with the feelings
Which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities.
But was in all points tempted like as we are.
But was in all points tempted like as we are. And why were we taught that Jesus was tempted in all points like us? Because of his human nature. Yet without sin because of his divine nature. Look at the person next to you. And I know I'm getting ready to mess with somebody, but y'all didn't come for me to play with you at this time. So let me say it like it is. Look at the person next to you and say, Jesus didn't exist. So they got this human and divine nature from somebody else. Please understand that. They stole it from Africa. They stole our story and put their ethnicity on it. In addition to Osiris, and see, a lot of people tell you that Africans were polytheistic. They say the Africans, the Egyptians, worshiped many gods. Not true. It tells you here, the Egyptians paid divine honors, not worship, divine honors to the sun god, the moon god, the air god, the water god, the sky god, the earth god, the Nile god, and to a host of spirits of whom we know the names of about 3,000. Now when people read that, they say, see all them gods Africans worship, but yet I can say Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nissi. You get the picture? And anybody got a problem with it? Only thing the Africans did is they acknowledged the attributes of God that were manifested in various aspects of creation. What relation all these gods and spirits bore to each other and to Osiris is not at first clear, and it is the realization of the existence of these which has induced some writers to declare that the Egyptian religion was nothing but a polytheistic cult. And yet it was not. It says, for the Egyptians believed in the existence of one great God, self-produced, self-existent, almighty, and eternal, who created the gods, not angels. You don't find the word angels in African theology. Okay? The heavens and the sun, moon, and stars, and them, and the earth, and everything on it, including man, beast, bird, fish, and reptile. They believed that he maintained in being everything which he had created, and that he was the support of the universe and Lord of it all. So you see, brothers and sisters, the ancient Africans only believed in one great God. What's really deep about it is, it says here, on rare occasions in which he is mentioned in their writings, he is always called Nectar. Meaning God, and besides this he has no name. The ancient Africans once, they didn't try that stuff. They did not try to get into arguments over the name of God. Because they knew. What does Acts 7:20-22 say? Now this is deep stuff, y'all. What does it say?
In which time
Moses
was born.
Who?
Moses.
Moses was born and what?
And was exceeding fair.
And was exceeding fair.
And nourished up in his father's house.
And nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And what happened?
And when he was cast out.
Now, before you go any further, let me help you. Moses didn't exist either. Okay? But it's a part of their story. I'm going to show you. We're going to get to Moses in a minute. Okay? But their story created a guy called Moses. And it tells you, according to their story, in the 7th chapter of Acts, verses 20-22, it goes on to say he was exceeding fair, raised up in his father's house 3 months, and what happened?
And when he was cast out.
And when he was cast out, what happened?
Pharaoh's daughter took him.
Pharaoh's daughter took him up
and nourished him for her own son.
And nourished him for her own son. And then what does it say? Now check this out. What does it say?
And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
And Moses, the one that they told you had a speech impediment. The one that they told you couldn't speak clearly, so Aaron had to do the talking for him. Ain't that what y'all was taught? Well, notice what it says here in Acts. It says he was mighty. Well,
in words
and in deeds. Contradiction. Oh, it's getting ready to get real good now. Osiris, those who can see it, what does it say? Was the great word. Y'all see that? Osiris. Turn to John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word.
In the beginning was the Word. How is word spelled there?
Capital W.
Capital W-O-R-D. In the beginning was the Word. Go ahead.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was with God. And the Word was God. Third verse, what does it say?
All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made.
Y'all see what's happening here? Do you see what's happening here? Let me read about Osiris, the story that existed at least 10,000 years before John 1:1. Osiris was the great word. In other words, Osiris, the word, capital W-O-R-D, spake the words through which all things in heaven came into being from non-existence. Read that third verse again.
All things were made by him.
All things were made by him.
And without him.
And without him
was not anything
was
made.
not anything made that was made. Now that's some deep stuff. Y'all see the theft of it?
Yes.
It's a perfect copy. Look at the bottom here. It talks about Osiris. Osiris was the first man who raised himself from the dead.
Yes.
10,000 years BC at least. What does Acts 26 and 23 say?
That Christ should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles.
Now, who rose from the dead first?
Osiris.
But let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. This is 10,000 years early. Now, if there's going to be a first, I would say it would be the African story. Okay? Osiris is the typical God man. Now, before y'all get too deep into this, am I preaching Osiris? No. I'm trying to show you where they stole their story from. You follow what I'm saying? Because the truth of the matter is, Osiris didn't exist either. It's all myth. It's stories. Allegory. Thank you. But my point is, the first story was ours. It was African. Here's entering the tomb. Now, for those brothers of the craft, if I got any here, this brother got on something called an apron. Got on an apron. He has the tiler's implement of his office there in his hand. Mereruka. Here he is. This is what they don't want you to take a picture of. Why is that? Because if you take a picture of this, you can come back and show the whole world that masonry is here. It didn't begin in 1717 with some white folk in England. Now you see why they're stopping you from taking pictures there. There he is, Mereruka, Grandmaster. Here he is, playing chess. They stole that too. Here it is, fishing. Now, this is just a close-up picture of them fishing here. But if you pull back on the lens, you see all up here other boats that are coming over to help these men pull these fish into their boat. If you turn to your Bibles, you'll see where that was copied to. Because they told Jesus, launch out into the deep and throw in your net for a draught. And the Bible says they caught so many fish that they had to call the other boats over. That's where they stole it from, right here in the temple of Mereruka. That's why they don't want you to take the pictures. What does Luke 15, 3 through 6 say? Check this out, y'all.
And he spake this parable unto them, saying.
And he spake this parable unto them, saying.
What man of you
having
100 sheep,
if
he lose one of them,
does
not leave the 99,
don't leave the 99
in the wilderness,
and go after that one
which is lost,
until he finds it. And what happens?
And when he has found it,
what does he do?
He lays it on his shoulders.
He lays it on his shoulders. Rejoicing.
And when he cometh home, he calleth together his
friends. You got it?
friends.
That's fine. That's where this comes from. Got it? That's their story right there. Little sheep on his shoulders. But the problem is Jesus didn't teach that parable. Y'all know why? He didn't exist to teach that parable. So where did that story come from? The tomb of Mary Luca. Mary Luca was letting sheep. It was his calf. You see, the cow is very important in Egypt. His calf strayed away and got lost. So Mary Luca left and went and found that one little calf that strayed away. And when he found it, there it is, y'all. That's not a picture. That's the wall. Reason why I'm standing there on the plateau with the pyramids behind me is because here you see from the sky an aerial shot of the 3 pyramids on the Giza Plateau. Okay? Up in the sky, there's a constellation called Orion. Okay? Those are the 3 stars of Orion's belt. The ancient Africans were into what's called stellar theology. This is what is meant in the Bible when it says, let your will be done on earth as it, y'all got it, y'all got it, y'all got it. There it is. Read. Now, let me show you what's deep about it. It's in the Bible. Amos 5 and 8. What does it say? Go up a little bit. Amos 5 and 8. What does it say? That's okay. I'll wait. Amos 5 and 8. It actually tells you to seek this out.
Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion.
Seek him who maketh the 7 stars and Orion. Look at the person next to you and say, that is not Jesus.
That is not Jesus.
That's African theology. The 7 stars. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, some deep stuff, because everybody got an appreciation for this but us. Y'all ain't got to take my word for it. Let me prove it to you. There's NASA's logo. 7 stars of Orion. 1, 2, here's the belt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. NASA uses Orion in their logo because they understand the stellar theology of African knowledge. They don't want you to go here, people. They want you to go to France, go to Hawaii, go to Virgin Islands, go to Britain, Greece, Rome. But don't go here. Why not? Because here's where the knowledge is. This is called the black stone. Brothers in the crowd. This is also known as the stone that the builders rejected. That sound more familiar to y'all, church folk? We've been taught that Jesus is the stone that the builders rejected. This is the capstone of the pyramid. And if you look on the back of your dollar bill, you'll see that that's what's missing on the top of the pyramid. Look at that. I had to get that. Yeah. Ain't nothing European about that. No. Look at that hair, y'all. Y'all see that? Look at this. Look at those braids, man. That's evidence. We are proud people. Look, now tell me, this is a brother here. Yes. That's a minimum. Why did they tear his nose off? Why did they tear his lips off? Because they couldn't take what they saw. A black warrior. Black man, this is what they don't want you to become. Here we have the headdress of Horus, the Christ, wearing the headdress of Amen. If you look at that, brothers and sisters, you'll see where the Ten Commandments came from. Y'all see it there? Got to move quickly through time. I'm running out of time. I get carried away here. Because this, I can go on all day with this, y'all. Here's your first Trinity right here. Asar, Aset, and Peru, or Horus. This is the dude that brother was talking about. When he said Horus, I didn't know nothing about this. Here's your ancient Trinity. But the Europeans got a problem with her. So they got rid of her and replaced her with a ghost. So instead of Father, Son, and Mother, you now have Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. How can this dude here be unless this woman over here exists? Without a mother. This is the original, the oldest statuette. This is in the Nubian Museum. I hope it's still there. I took this picture with my micro lens camera. This statuette is about that tall. Little tiny little thing. The ancient statuette of Aset giving suck to the virgin-born child, Horus. Now again, didn't actually exist. It's a story. Did y'all hear what I said? Yeah. Let me tell y'all something. There's nowhere in the world, that a woman is going to have a baby without penile penetration into her vagina. Or some way to plant a seed up in there. Now medicine want to, what they call it now, artificial, Back then, there ain't but one way to do it, y'all. Now, I got to break this one down to you. This is what's called a papyrus drawing. On this papyrus drawing, you have, I don't know if y'all remember who this is. Osiris sitting on the throne of judgment. Okay? Dressed in white. That's why it's called the Great White Throne Judgment in the Bible. Here you have Horus, the Christ. This is the ancient Egyptian or Kemetic version of the European Jesus of the Bible. Y'all following me now? This is the son of this dude over here. Y'all with me? Here you have a brother that's being brought to Osiris. It is in this papyrus drawing and inscribed in stone around Kemet where the story came from. No man can come to the Father but by. Get the picture? The only way you can come to the Father is Jesus has to bring you. Here you have Khafre, Pharaoh Khafre, and around his head is Horus, the hawk. I just told you Horus is the Christ, the Christos in Greek, anointed one. So what this means is this brother has the anointing of God upon him. Taken from Kemet, not from Jerusalem, not from some other room. Holy Ghost fell upon him. No. Here you have what's called the stela of someone who has died. Here he is laying on the funeral bed. Over here is the hieroglyphic writings of his life story. Guess what we call it today? An obituary. Exactly. Here you see he's died and having this ceremony and reading his obituary. He's going to judgment. He's standing with his hands raised in this manner, which means I bring or present my ka, my spirit, to the Almighty to be judged. He comes before Osiris. You see the scales there? Okay? The scales are not tilted, which means he lived an all right life. He goes to Osiris for judgment, and he passes his judgment, and he goes into the heavenly places. Thousands of years old. Ancient boat that's still in the museum. The world's first seafaring vessel. This dude is called Mentuhotep. A blue-black brother. He's so black, all you see is the white of his eyes. He's right there in the museum, but they won't let you take these pictures now. Why? Because they're cleansing all of this blackness out of Kim. Look at that, y'all. That's called hair. In the Cairo Museum, there was a letter on the wall in one of the rooms. It's no longer there. This is the letter. It talks about an Egyptian who was a caretaker known as Mahepra. I just want you to see the racism in this letter. It says, let's see, at any rate, they actually got into this discussion over whether the man was black or not. And it says, at any rate, on the copy of the Book of the Dead, found in the tomb, and now exhibited on the walls of this room, Mahepra is depicted with his face black instead of the normal red. Check it out now. It goes on to say, a detailed examination of his mummy, which showed that he died about 20 years of age, also showed that he was negroid, but not actually a Negro. What you gonna do, y'all? Now that's what you call psychopathic racism.
And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel.
Now check this out. And Jacob called the name of the place, what did you just call it?
Peniel.
Peniel. How about pineal? See, she pronounced it the way we've been taught to pronounce it. But when you look at this, you see the sun, the light of the sun hitting him in what's called that third eye, the pineal gland. Read on, sister.
For I have seen God face to face.
And Jacob said, when the light of right knowledge hit him, he said, man, I done seen God. Face to face. What happened? Go ahead.
And my life is preserved.
And my life is preserved. Read on, 31st verse.
And as he passed over Peniel,
check it out. As he, who's he? The sun. Why? The light. Light represents And this is the only place on this planet where something like that exists. The verdict is in, y'all. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been misled. Oh, look at here. We were all taught that the children of Israel got their behinds whipped by God in the wilderness because they worshiped a golden calf. Well, there's your golden calf. Right there. Not a figment of somebody's imagination from the biblical text. There it is. And guess what? God ain't whipping no Egyptians behind over no golden calf. Let me break this down for you. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Here you got the calf, the cow, known as Hathor, the life giver, the nourisher. Here you have this dude now they got out called King Tut. Now, how many of y'all seen this new image they got of him out now? Yeah. Look at that burial mask. See, for a long time, people thought that that's what King Tut looked like. King Tut wasn't gold, y'all. Okay? That's King Tut. That's the Pharaoh Tutankhamun. There he is. Another blue-black brother. Look at it. That is the foot of his casket. I mean, if you were looking at his casket and just shoot the, it's laying down, you just shoot the foot. If you stand it up, you'd be standing on that. Look at the detail. Look how Africans did stuff. That's my art. Yes. Ptah. The god Ptah, an image of the god Ptah, to represent the Almighty One who is the Creator. They stole and copied that too. That is. Y'all see it? That's Ptah. That's the Oscar. They copy everything, people. We went to the back side of it, and we saw this little opening. And it's deep because it's like the ancestor Zosia never checked. So if y'all come close and look in here so you can get a good look at me. You look down in there and you see Zosia looking right back at you. That's the evidence, y'all. The verdict is in. I don't have to stand here and say, this is where it is believed this is where Zosia was. She left there and went to the city of Menepher. This is the Ramesseum in the city of Menepher. And inside the Ramesseum, you see a 15-ton statue, one solid piece of stone, of Ursa Ma'akra Setepera Rametsu Meriam. I'm feeling this thing talking about. That's his name. And all over Kemet, this great pharaoh, statues of him everywhere, temples for him everywhere, because he was an awesome African king. The Bible made him a bad man. This is the Pharaoh that supposedly held the Hebrews in bondage. This is supposedly the Pharaoh that God sent Moses to, who didn't exist either, to tell him, let my people go. Look at this. They still love this man. Here you have a man standing there, and if you were that guy right there standing next to this and made a right face, this is what you'd see. I mean, just his face would be so massive right in front of you. One solid piece of stone, and look at the detail. There's Ursa Rasa Teppenra Ramitsa Miriam at the city of Nefer, standing with his left foot forward. And you'll see that all over Kemet. Why is the left foot forward? Because on the side of the heart, it's to tramp down evil. Yes. The military copied this. Yes. When the military gets ready to march, they say, "Forward, march!" And what foot you step off on? So left foot. And they call, "Yo, left." All right, left. I will left. There it is. Look at the warriors. Look at the warriors in platoon formation. African Wasset warriors. Y'all get a chance, I want y'all to study the movie Shaka Zulu. Yes. Y'all see where Africans got, look at it. Look like a platoon of Marines with shorts on. All with that left foot forward.